There you
Oh,
go.
that's good wine. That was a really good wine.
Yeah. Right.
Hey, welcome to the continuing winemaker series here at Wine of the Month Club. And had a pleasant surprise this morning. We have a visit from Kevin Hall from Alexander Valley Vineyards. And boy, the winery goes back a long way. And we want to hear a little bit about the winery. We're going to taste some wines today. And so welcome to the set.
Thank you very much.
Glad to have you here.
You bet.
So Alexander Valley, easy for you to say.
We call it AVV for that
AVV.
reason.
It started in '75. I thought that's so interesting because that was kind of the beginning of really wine, California wine.
Definitely in Sonoma County as well. You know, it's one of the originals. The property was purchased in the '60s, and then Hank Wetzel, my boss, he started the winery in 1975.
Oh, he's still there.
Yeah,
Well,
still there.
Boy, that's a pretty good story just in itself.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the family is very much involved in day-to-day operations. I see Hank almost every day.
Oh, wow, that's great. So you started there, you said 18 years ago.
I started in 1998. Yeah, 18 years.
That's a pretty good run too in the wine business, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good family to work for. It's a great place. We're always expanding, trying different varieties.
Is everything
makes it interesting?
Is everything estate grown there, and you guys get some grapes from other neighboring wineries?
We get a little bit from surrounding areas. I get a great have a great vineyard for Gewürztraminer up in Mendocino County.
Right.
Some
Great area
Zen
for
over
that.
in Dry Creek, but otherwise almost everything's estate grown.
And so you mentioned, I was asking because when I was stocking the shelves back in the day, and I'm pretty sure that Palos Verdes Wines and Spirits had the wines back in the day. And we're talking a long time ago. I was stocking the shelves in the 70s. But I asked you how the evolution of the philosophy there. You said it's pretty much the same, but the grapes have changed a little bit.
Yeah. We were able, because of flocks or other reasons, we were able to replant a bunch of vineyards. Took some varieties that were not in the best locations and moved them down to a little better locations.
So, and it added some Rhone varietals, I think you said?
Added some Rhone varietals, more extensive planting of Syrah, Grenache, Mourvedre.
Now, how old are those vineyards now?
Those would be anywhere from 10 to 15 years old, so still young
so
for
they're
us.
really wow.
Yeah.
And you're producing wines from this. I
We
don't think I've tasted any Rhone style wines. We're gonna taste some Chard and some other wines today, but I don't think I've ever had. Maybe Peter's never brought me them. That's the problem.
He needs to bring you our estate Syrah. It's a lovely wine. And we do a couple other limited release wines where it's Alluvia, it's one of them, where it's a Rhone blend for us.
Love to taste it. So this is the 14th Sonoma County, Alexander Valley, at all estate grown in bottle. So I love the philosophy behind this one, which was getting the fruit flavors out.
Exactly. Create a wine where a person can see what Chardonnay from the Alexander Valley tastes like, not what the oak barrel tastes like.
Right.
So this is only 30% barrel fermented. That 30% is in mostly neutral barrels, so just add a little creaminess to the mouthfeel, but nothing to cover up the fruit.
And now it's actually changed since we opened it earlier. It's much more volume in the fruit character. It's great. And so that barrel fermentation, just a touch of character, but no flavor really.
Exactly. Just lightly touched by the oak. Gives it that creaminess on the palate though.
Nice to know that Chardonnay has its own flavors.
Yeah.
Because you would never know some of the stuff.
Exactly.
The funny thing is when I go to restaurants and everybody's ordering the same thing, and you know what that is. It's just oak bombs, and you just I can't even drink this like a popsicle stick. Right?
Yeah. Try the Pinot?
Yeah, this is very intriguing to me.
So Pinot Noir is, I mentioned Hank Wetzel, he's my boss, but his dad, Harry Wetzel, who purchased the property, this was one of his favorite varieties of all time. So we've been making Pinot for a very long time. We have the Russian River that cuts across the property, which gives us this nice little microclimate, nice cooling effect from the river. Otherwise, we're really known for our Cab and our Zins, but it's a great place for Pinot as well.
And again, this is a wine that's changed in the glass. The Pinot Noir nose has really become very obvious. It was less obvious when we first opened 10 minutes ago, but great grape, and it's very finicky, right? It's very difficult, but it does carry terroir well.
Yes,
it does
it's
handle
very
it.
transparent grape. You can tell where it was grown and what you've done to it.
I get so intrigued because we were in Beaune, France last year and tasted obviously tons of Pinot Noirs down there, and so different. Just so different. I like the Alexander Valley. I like Sonoma County Pinot Noirs anyway. Sonoma Coast. compared to the Napas. I think the Napas are just a little too esoteric. They don't say much, but this really do. The nose is great. You just want to keep smelling it, you know?
And it's got a good mouthfeel to it. It
Boy, that's
stands
great.
out.
You get the happy birthday hat.
Stars and Stripes for you.
Really nice wine.
Thank you.
Where are these? Are they generally available in the marketplace?
Yes, they are. Yeah, you can find these.
Now this has always intrigued me, and I asked this question, and I felt rather old in the industry for remembering this. But this is the Sinzin, and I remember it being sort of one of the first sort of edgy, brand names
with the cute name, and we always say it has the label and the package that gets you intrigued, and then you have a sip of the wine that brings you back for more.
And this has been around for many, many years.
Yeah, the first vintage of Sinzin was 1978.
And I like it because I do like the Lodi version in the Sierra Foothills, very expressive zins, but this one is subdued compared to those, and I like that because you get the fruit flavors and you get the more balance between the.
Exactly, and that's what we're going for, is the balance.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
So you changed the label because I remember it was not black and white, but
right. The original label was black and white. This is our 36th year of producing this wine, so we went back. We call this the retro label, so it's back to the original black and white.
So you guys think you started all these? I mean, I always thought that these names came around because all the wine names that had Oak, Valley, Napa, Sonoma, Ridge, they're all taken, right? Trying to find a
right. Yeah, Sinzin. So
no one's taken that one yet, right?
Exactly.
Excellent value though. This is a great wine.
Thank you.
Boy, that's very expressive. And then now the Queen. This is the top of the line for the brand.
Exactly. Okay. So this is Cyrus, and it's named in honor of Cyrus Alexander, the namesake of Alexander Valley. So in the 1850s, Cyrus came in, settled in the valley, picked the very best site for his homestead, and that's where the winery is located now.
Now you went to UC Davis, you said.
I did.
Right? And so you studied enology there.
I did. I got my master's degree in winemaking there.
And what about the undergrad?
Undergrad was also from UC Davis,
was it?
But in psychology.
In psychology, right? So the psychology of grapes, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you didn't come to Alexander Valley right out of school. You went.
I traveled around the world. Worked in Germany and New Zealand.
Wow.
Right before Alexander Valley, and then had a good stint at Sebastiani Vineyards.
Really? Oh, great. Yes. So we were talking about some of the old days of Sebastiani with some of the characters there. Boy, this nose is just also developing. What I was intrigued with the finish of this wine was this deep, dark chocolate, like this 80% cacao chocolate character. Even a little bit of anise I got in there. But this would be considered a Bordeaux blend or a Meritage in California terms.
Exactly. So it typically has a big Cabernet base. It's got the Merlot, the Cab Franc, the Petit Verdot in there as well.
It's actually got all 5 grapes. Which is kind
it's
of
always fun to play around with the 5.
You don't see that all the time. Even Bordeaux now, sometimes it's just Cab Merlot, right? So Cyrus, I found online only at one place, and that was the vineyard. But is it out there? Is there a place people?
It's out there. Yeah, you can find it. It's limited production, but it's still out.
Because every time you taste it, you go, oh,
it just keeps evolving.
Yeah, some more things going on.
Yep.
Well, it's a great surprise having you here today, Kevin, and we look forward to tasting more wines from Alexander Valley, Syrah in particular.
Yes.
Some of these Rhone varietals, and we'll bring some in that the customers that get a chance to watch this video pick some up.
Excellent. Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.